I want to talk today a little bit about problems and solutions. And if you've listened to any of these other talks, you probably know where this is going, which is that there are none. Problems are thoughts arising from nowhere, including the possible thought that you might be having, the resistance to the statement, there are no problems. And arguably, if we allow a concession of a problem, the only problem that is the feeling that there are problems that need solutions. And those aren't problems either. Those are just an energetic stickiness happening. For a problem to exist, the definition of it is something happening that needs to be worked out. And in what is, there's arguably nothing happening, so there's nothing to be worked out. It's all unfolding as it is supposed to be. There's nothing to fix. Now, some hear that and start coming up with the list. What do you mean? Of course there's problems, and there's this in the world and there's this in my personal life, and that's just what's happening. Jay-Z listed 99 problems, and I'm sure his list has grown. And yet, some look at Jay-Z and say, well, that guy's got everything in the world, why would he have any problems? In some conversations, it comes up where the phrasing or the call to action comes up. How many times in your life will it take for you to wish for some desired outcome, that not be the case, and it turned out to be better than? How many times do you need that to show up to actually believe it to be so? And the answer is none, but the ego, it's never enough. So if you said 100 times, when I want something and it doesn't turn out that way, and it turns out to be better, or I want something and I get it and it turns out to be not good at all, how many examples of that do you need to realize that you don't ultimately know what's good for you? And in this statement, there are no problems, there are no solutions. This is not to be mistaken with the power of positive thinking, where there's a phrase I'll probably botch, but it's, with every problem comes a gift. We need problems because we need the gifts that they provide. That's not what's being shared here. It's not this element of optimism where you look at a problem and like, oh, this problem arose so that I could get this lesson out of it. See, it was a positive thing. It's not that. It's that everything happening through as consciousness, the infinite, the divine, God, however you want to phrase it, the absolute, is just happening. And it gets tricky to even say as intended, as it's supposed to be. Everything happens for a reason. Because then the mind wants to find a reason, and the ego thoughts pop up and want to find meaning behind it. And therein lies that problem with there's a problem here. What's the solution? Why am I supposed to have this solution? People don't like this. Some don't like hearing this. because they feel that, again, their feelings are just these thoughts arising. They feel that there's this notion of a world that needs to be fixed, others that need to be helped and saved. And if you see someone and they need assistance, then assistance will happen. You will do that without thinking. That will just be the case. It happened this weekend. Someone came up and a homeless person came up and said, I'm not asking you for money. He wanted me to buy him bread, cheese, and he wanted me to buy him stuff to make sandwiches. So we went to the grocery store and I bought him stuff to make sandwiches. But I didn't, there was no addition. That just happened. That was the case. There was no waking up that morning and be like, how can I help people today? And if you wake up and you have that thought, that's okay too. It's all allowed, but the assistance given just happened. There was no intention before or deep thought after. Some curiosity arose about his condition afterwards, but then it just sort of went away. Problems appear to exist and will continue to do so, provided that there is a belief that we are separate, that we are somehow separate from the infinite. And it's possible that if you keep going back, you keep going down with what those problems are, you ultimately get to this problem of the separate self. That is the ultimate problem, if you want to look at it that way. The need to solve, the need to fix. And this treadmill, this mental idea, mind treadmill that continues, where there are these problems that are coming up that need to be solved. I mean, that's the ego's MO right there. Create problems and then solve them, thereby ensuring job security. If I can just keep creating problems and we're always having something to solve, I'm good here. I can do whatever I want. I can take Mondays and Fridays off. I'll just, on Thursdays, I'll just stack up a bunch of extra problems. But the thing is that the ego doesn't like to take a vacation, does it? Problems arising, those thoughts, those aren't an issue either. Those are allowed. Everything is allowed in oneness. Everything is just this. It's just one thing. And as one thing, there can't be another thing that creates a problem. There can't be something in the infinite that is other than it, that is going against it. It's just this. And yet, thoughts can arise. That's not right. That's unfortunate. That's sad. Those are allowed as well. But in the absolute, in the infinite, there are no problems and there's no solutions to those problems. It's if you want to look at it this way, it's already solved. It just is. That's how it is. Man, words. Anyway, if you have a problem with this, I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments or on social media. And if this provides ease, then yeah, I suppose that's good too.